types of weathers you can think of. So the intent of this class is like by the end of this class, you'll be able to learn around 20 different vocabulary words around nature, right? The exercise I'll be giving you in different chunks. There'll be about 2 to 3 different exercises throughout this class, which I think will be very helpful, not only in terms of remembering these vocabulary words, but also how to use them on a day-to-day life. Okay, so let's just get started. So the first one I have here is like, nature and planet, right? So the first one I have here, I'm going to take here, which is called cloud. And if you already know about, this particular vocabulary word, I think it's good to exercise it. So feel free to write down on the chat box. Otherwise, I'll continue. So cloud in Hindi is known as badal. Badal. You can write it as you can see, there's a b, but there's a sound of a, right? So you have a, and then the l, badal, badal, right? That's cloud, right? Even if you have like, so this is, you can use it as a singular as well as plural, right? So, there are no like a different, word for, plural of badal. You just use like, even if there are several, you just use, right? For example, when you have ladki and you have plural ladkiyan, you have ladka, ladke. But these is kind of like a category where you have singular and plural, both of them, they have the same word. Badal. It's also, uh, you can use it in several like Hindi songs. You have this particular vocabulary word, right? Uh, the next one I'm going to use here is called wind. Wind or hawa. I mean, air basically. Wind. So here in Hindi we call wind as hawa. Hawa, right? And as you can hear it, its first is ha, and then you have word, a letter, a consonant called ver, and there's a sound of a, hawa, hawa. Okay. Both of them, you'll see there are several. Even if you just type, badal or hawa, and then Hindi song, you'll see several of Hindi songs, that have hawa or badal in it. So I think that could be a good kind of thing to sort of like watch some of those, video and have them repeat this word again and again, so that way you can remember it. Third one I have is ocean. Any of you remember or know the meaning of the what ocean is known in Hindi? Let me give you a few seconds so you can write down on the chat box. Okay, so ocean is basically, you can call it samandar, samandar. You may read it as samandar, but it's samandar, or also samudra. Okay, and the way you write it is samandar. So you can, as you can hear, that there is a nasalized N sound here. Samandar. Samandar. Okay. So far we have cloud, wind, hawa, and ocean. Let's continue with our, second set of on nature. Okay. So I have fourth one. I have is called weather. Weather. Weather in Hindi is known as mausam. Mausam. And the way you write it is, as you can tell, there is a O, right? So there is definitely a consonant called M, right? But the way you're saying it is O, Mo. So it's like the same O that you will use in O, right? So it's Mo. Give me a second. Okay. So it's Mo and then some. So Sa is again another consonant. Just give me a minute. Let me just make sure that I mute. Okay, so it's more, sir, and then after that you'll have another consonant for more. A quick note: if you can just mute yourself, that'll be really great. So that way, there is no. I'll open it up for panel discussion towards the end. So that's the vocabulary word for weather. Mawsam, right? Mawsam. All of them, the words that we've gone through so far, it's either the name of the movie or it's coming in the lot of Hindi songs, right? But I just want to reiterate it. Like, it's also one of the movie that came in the 2 years ago. Okay, so let's continue. The next one I have is called mountain. Mountain. And mountain, we can call it pahad or parvat. Both of them are used equally, I would say, pahad and parvat. So pahad, you will write it is like both of them have like there's a per sound, okay, per, and then there's a her, and then you can see that there is the a sound. So it's ha, and then the pahad, pahad, okay, and then parvat is a per, ver, okay, parvat, and there is a ra on top of the, and then there is the parvat, okay, parvat. And then same again here, like if you have one mountain, you say eight pahad. You know, just you simply say pahad, and there are many pahad. You'll say bahut, bahut is many, bahut se pahad, bahut se pahad, many mountains. Okay. So now what I'll do is like I'm going to go over different kind of weather basically. Like how do we say different weathers in Hindi? And if you are familiar with any of the Hindi song that uses any of the nature words, we can definitely use it as a, model for our exercises, and we can use it, in our exercises as well. Right? So now let's go into our different kind of weathers. So the first one I have is called heat or summer. Right? The way we say heat is garmi, garmi. Summer season is garmi, and again we will say ga, and you probably have guessed it. There is a ma here, right? And then e also. So it's, however, if you just say, you probably have seen that there is a r sound right before you say consonant ma, right? And whenever you have an r sound coming, like a half r sound coming, before a consonant. The way you write it is like you put it here. You will make a half C on top of the consonant. Right? So if I just say gur, if I want to just write gurm, gurm, there is R sound before the consonant. I'll just write it like this. Gurm. Gurm is hot. Okay. You can say it like, gurm khana. Khana is food, hot food. Or you can say gurm chai, or gurm chai is your tea, or tea, right? Just a quick note, if you can just mute yourself, that would be very great. Okay. So so we were just going over hot, right? So if you have this vocabulary word girl, which is hot, let's see how you use it, right? So the way you will use it, you can say garm khana, which is hot food. You can say garm chai, which is hot tea, right? Let's see what else you can use it as. You can also say water is pani. You can also say garam pani, which is water, hot water, garam pani, right? What else? I'm going to ask you, like, if you want to use any object which is like a hot, how will you say it? Um, how do you say milk in Hindi? I'm going to take a quick pause here. How do you say milk? Doodh, very good, right? So you'll say garam, doodh, hot milk, or warm milk, right? So pretty much you have like hot milk, hot water, hot food, hot tea, or hot coffee. Anything that you want to say it as hot, right? But the base word will be garam here. And we came to garam when we were discussing about summer, because summer in Hindi is known as garmi, garmi. Good. Okay. So now let's look at the other one. The opposite of summer would be your winter. Winter, right? Quick, if you can mute yourself, I think Dilara, I think it's you. If you can quickly mute yourself, that'll be really great. Okay. So the opposite would be, opposite of summer is your winter, which is also known as thand. I'm gonna write it here. So winter is known as thand or thandi. You can also call it thand or thandi, thandi, or you can also refer to as specifically the weather. You can refer to as sardi. Okay. Okay. So let's see how we can change it now. So if I were to write it in Hindi, it will be thand, or you can just say th and then dot thand. Okay. Or you can also say sardi, right? The one which we were using, and the way you would write it is you have sir, the, sardi, and then hafa, sardi, sardi. The reason I was teaching you thand, so that all the objects or all the words we've learned so far, like hot milk, hot water, hot food, and hot chai, right? I mean, can we change it to cold now? And for that, all we have to do is like we have to remove garm, and then we have to replace it with the opposite, right? So it will be thanda, thanda doodh, right? Now when we learn garam is not like, regardless of the, the gender here, regardless of whether it's a masculine or feminine, you will be using garam, right? But when it comes to thanda, it really depends on, like, whether the following word is like masculine or feminine, right? So if it is a masculine one, if it's like, then you will use thanda, right? However, if it when it's a feminine one, you will be use like thandi, right? So, and again, we have a formula to ask the, native speaker whether it's a masculine or a feminine one, right? So in this case, doodh is sort of like a masculine object, so you'll say thanda doodh, cold milk, right? Pani is also masculine, so you'll say thanda pani, okay? And if somebody, or like, if you go to a restaurant and it's just serving you like a cold food, right, which is not really a, a heated one or a fresh one, you can also say it's like a thanda khana, right? However, chai or a tea is considered feminine, so you'll be calling it as a thandi chai, thandi chai, right? Thandi chai. And what if, so all of them right now are singular. What if you have an object which is plural, either a masculine plural or a feminine plural? How do we? I mean, I hope with the earlier classes you remember how we change it, right? So let's say, I mean, again, I'm thinking of like a, um, some kind of object here. So let's say, for the sake of example, I'll use, clothes, clothes, right? In Hindi, one cloth is kapda, and many clothes are kapde, right? And kapda is masculine singular, kapde is masculine plural. But when you use like this cold, let's say you want to say cold clothes, right? It will be thande kapde, cold clothes, okay? Thande kapde, okay? Similarly, if you have like a masculine plural, let's say vegetables, vegetables. So one vegetable is sabji, and vegetables is sabjiyan, right? So you have sabjiyan, sabjiyan, right? It's plural. But whenever it's feminine plural, you will still use thandi, thandi sabjiyan. So regardless of, singular or plural, whenever you have like a feminine object, you will still use thandi, thandi. But when it's masculine, you use either thanda or you use thande. For singular, you will use thanda. For plural, you use thande. Okay. I'll probably give a quick quiz to sort of like, go over the thought process one more time. So let's say you have object called oil, Do you guys know what oil is in Hindi? What's the word for it? Okay, so it's known as tail. Think of it as, I mean, it's written as TAIL, but it's the with a sound and then la. So here you have, the way I'm writing, it's the, but however it's actually the, okay, tail. That's the Hindi word for oil. Now you probably now by now you've guessed. How do you say if it is a, and it's a quiz, so people who are on the panel, give it a shot. Like, what if you want to say it's a hot oil? If you want to say hot oil, it will be in Hindi. It will be okay. Very good. Garam tel. Garam tel. What if you want to say it's a cold oil? Give it a try. Okay, so it will be it's a masculine singular. So it will be thanda, thanda tel, thanda tel. Good. Again, the idea here is to learn as we were still on the weather part, right? Where we're talking about sardi is which is cold, right? And also one of the word for cold is thand or thanda. Okay, so we'll go back to our original topic. I mean, I just took this tangent because I thought it was important to use them on on a day-to-day basis. So the next one I have is called spring. Spring in Hindi is known as Basant. Basant, right? So you have ba. By now you must have guessed it's a sir, where there is a nasalized sounds, and then the Basant. That's spring. Okay. That's the third season. The next one I have is fall. Fall, we did it in one of the earlier class as well. Fall, the way we say it is Pathinjan, right? And it literally means like leaves which are falling, right? So Pat is like leaves, and Jad is like indirectly it means fall. Patjad, right? So it's like the way you write it is the J. J. It's the same J which you use for flag, Chanda, right? And then the Patjad. Say that again. Patjad. So that's basically fall. Okay. So those were the weather. We'll continue, with more nature-related vocabulary words. Okay. The next one I have is called river. So we did ocean so far. What about river? Right? River is nadi, nadi, right? And if you're saying nadi, that means you're referring to one river, right? And it's the way you write it is na, the, which you probably have guessed the, and then there's a e sound, nadi. right? Nadi. What about like what if there are more than one? What if there's a plural of nadi or rivers? Any guess? How will you say it? It's the same pattern as ladki. So if you know the plural of girl, you should know very good. So it's nadia, right? Let me just. So if you know the plural of girl, you should know the plural of river also. So Marcel has rightly guessed out it would be nadia, nadia. Okay. So that's the river. The next one I'm going to cover is called sky. I think I didn't do the sky part yet. Right? Even if I did, I'll just repeat it. Sky is called Asman. Asman, right? Or Akash. It's also a very popular name, right? And the way you write it is like Asman is Asman, Asman, or Akash. Akash, Akash, Akash. And oftentimes when we, in Hindi, when you're referring to, the sky, it's popularly you will call it a blue sky, right? So the derivative here will be, uh, if you know the meaning of like the word for blue in Hindi, it will be Neela, Neela, Asman. I think I just said Asman or Neela Akash, Neela Akash. That's a word for the blue sky in Hindi. Okay. Any questions so far, you can use the chat box to to write it down. You can also suggest some of the words that you're interested in learning, so we can cover that. Otherwise we'll continue with our more vocabulary words and how to use them. Also, if you know some of the songs that have covered these kind of words, we can go over that as well, because that will be one of the exercise. I'm going to give you a Hindi song to listen and then identify all the nature related objects in that particular song. And I think that will be very interesting because that will make you, listen to the song more carefully and able to identify some of the vocabulary words there. Okay, so I'll remove this one and we'll start with more vocabulary words. Now we are gradually shifting to the second part, which is like basically all the planets and the uh, yeah, those kind of vocabulary words. Right. The first one I have is in this section is called moon, and I'm going to take a quick pause to see if anybody is already familiar with it. I also posted a quiz on that, so if you're familiar with it, you should definitely know. Okay, anyone? What's the Hindi vocabulary word for moon? Okay, it's okay. We'll learn it. So either you can call it like a chand, or you can call it Chandrama, right? Or people also call it Chanda. Very popular, you know. When you're calling it chand, it's ch, a, is it the dot on top of it, and then there's it the chand. No, there's a chand. The chand. Okay. The second one is called Chandrama, which is the way you write it is ch, half na, the, and then ra here basically, and then ma, Chandrama. Okay, and the next one is called Chanda, which is ch, dot on top, and da, Chanda, Chanda. Okay. Um, Again, if you're interested in songs, there is a very popular song called Chanda Hai. You can just YouTube it and you'll find the song on the first one, Chanda Re. And what she's really saying is like, oh dear moon. Uh, you can also use it, in terms of calling your beloved person. Like if you love someone, you can also refer to them as Chanda, right? Oftentimes, if you hear the songs, like usually the female, they are always referred as like the faces of like moon or something like that, right? So that's also you if you hear the songs, you will understand the context behind it. But the guy or someone is referring to the person as like moonlight face, right? Okay. So what I'll do is like I'll remove it and we'll move to the next one. And we'll bring all of them together, so that way you'll see how they're all connected. So next one I have is called sun. Sun, you can refer to it as Suraj. Okay, Suraj. You can also say Surya. Surya. Okay, so Suraj, as you can see, there is a sa and there is a u sound here. Su and then ra, ja, Suraj. Suraj, right? When you have Surya, it's definitely you still have sa with u, okay, and then you have r before the half r before the your consonant. So you definitely have year, and because r is coming before the consonant, you have like a c on top of the year. Surya, Surya. Okay, Surya. So also like there's a if you want to see how it is used, you can Google the song. Suraj Hua Madham. So Hua is like became, sun became, like when you say madham, that means it's like it's setting, almost setting, or it's becoming dull, right? You can watch this song, that way it will also give you some understanding of how this is used in the in the songs. Okay, so we move to the next one, which is basically star, star. Okay, and then the plural here is stars. So when you're just saying one star, it's basically tara. Okay. And again, if you know the plural of ladka, you should know the plural of stars also. So if star is tara, stars will be very good. Tare, tare, right? So you have ta with a, ta, and ra with a, tara. Okay, and here you have a ta with a, ta, and then ra with a, tare. Very good. Right? Tare. Right? Uh, the movie name Tare Zameen Par. Anybody, can you guess? Like, let's say if you don't know what it means, can you guess what will it mean? Like, can you make a guess though? You know Tare, which is stars, right? Uh, I'm not gonna give you more hint. I'm just gonna let you make a quick guess. What do you think it will mean? Tare Zameen Par. Okay. So now another, let's say, let's say it's a Urdu word, Zameen, right? Let's say if you don't know the meaning of it, how will you ask that in Hindi? You remember the formula? Okay, almost there. So Zameen का मतलब क्या है? Right? That's how you use it in the formula. Zameen का मतलब क्या है? जमीन का मतलब क्या है? Or you can, if you don't want to use it that long, you can also say जमीन का मतलब, so जमीन का मतलब, it's on the ground or it's on the earth basically, right? Right? So it's basically referred to it in this context. It is referred as an on earth basically. And you remember we did postposition, right? We used pay on. Remember that? It means on. Paid pay, chat pay, paid pay, chat pay, anything, or building pay, on building, right? So now you know all of them. You know Stare, which is stars. You know Zameen, which is earth. You know Per, which is nothing but a postposition. Pay, which means on. Now can you guess the meaning of this small sentence? Tare Zameen Per. Basically, what they're saying is like stars on earth. Stars on earth. And this movie is about kids, small kids. And the main character in this movie, it's basically he has dyslexia, right? So basically, it's basically it's referring to small kids who are beautiful in any shape or form. I mean, any kind of kids are beautiful, right? So basically, the movie is referring to kids, they're stars, right? That these are the stars on earth. So that's what it means, star is a mean word. Which basically brings us to the next vocabulary word, which is earth, right? So how do we say earth in Hindi? So I'll remove it so that way we can start. So now, in this case, let's say you don't know the meaning of, like, the Hindi vocabulary word for earth. There was a second formula we learned, and I want to give you an opportunity to see if you remember it. If you want to find out the Hindi word for earth, how will you use it in the formula? Very good, right? So you'll say हिंदी में अर्थ को क्या कहते हैं. Very good. And so this formula you can use it pretty much to find out the meaning of any word, right? So अर्थ को हिंदी में so there are many one. So we'll say पृथ्वी. अर्थ को हिंदी में पृथ्वी कहते हैं. right? Um, Prithvi. So it's per and then r here. So remember, there are two types of r we can make. Either we can make this one when the r sound is before the consonant, right? When the r sound is after the consonant, right? So hmm, let's say you have x, right? And you have, so this one is pro. R sound is right after the consonant, right? You have, let's say, any here, word here, let's say, or let's say you have a here, a. This will be a, R is before the per sound, right? So in this case, whenever the R is before the consonant, the is on top of the consonant. Whenever the R is after the consonant, the C is at the bottom of the consonant. Okay, I'll go over it again just to make sure that you understand me. Right? So now in this case, right, it's basically what you're saying here is like pro, right, which is R sound is right after the P. So that's why it's pro, and then Prithvi. So tha here is ha, and it's a difficult. So I don't. Please don't worry if you don't understand it. I'll go over it gradually. So it's half tha and then V. Prithvi. 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 You can also refer to Earth as Dharti. Okay, Dharti, or in Urdu as we discussed, it's Zameen. Or in Hindi, I mean, we're not covering it, but you can still say Bhumi. Bhumi, right? So Dharti is, it's the and then ra. There's a the with e. Dharti. Again, the, ra, and then the with e. Dharti. Okay, and then Zameen, za, meen, no, Zameen. And then this one is Bhumi. Ba with u, and then ma with e. Bhumi. Bhumi. Okay, so let's say I'll take one more and then I'll open it up for different kind of um, questions or comments. And so the next one I'm gonna do here is the next one I'm gonna do is I'm not sure if we did it, but rain. I'm not sure if we covered it, but I'm gonna cover it. So rain is called barish. As you can see, there's a bar, we, sh. Right, so you have v with r, you have r with e, and then sh, barish, barish. So now let's say if you want to say it's raining. Now you want to say it's raining. Make a guess. How will you like? At least guess it. How will you say it in Hindi? It's raining. There's no negative marking. Say anything. How will you say it's raining? It's my now you can tell it's continuous. right? Okay, so first thing you are asking, which is the right question, rain is masculine or feminine, right? Whether it's masculine or feminine. Now, good question. How will you ask the same question in Hindi? We had a formula for that. Okay, so the formula was kya and the object that you are trying to ask. You can either use feminine or masculine, right? So in this case, it would be kya rain feminine hai? Yes, हाँ, rain feminine hai, right? Now, how will you say that it's raining? वहाँ बारिश. Okay, so interesting, right? So you figured out that it's continuous. So if it is continuous, it would be रहा है, रही है, और रहे हैं. This part is clear, right? And because it's feminine, it's रही है. That's also clear, right? Very good. So you guessed it right. So it is basically बारिश हो रही है. बारिश हो रही है. Um, So you don't have to write. I mean, you can write it Vaham, but it's basically explicit. I mean, it's implied that even if you're writing Barish ho rahi hai, it means like in your context. So for example, right now I'm in Washington DC, and if I say Barish ho rahi hai, that means like it's raining here, right? Ho rahi hai, right? Um, Same thing. If it is like if it is like it's quite you know, if you're feeling hot, right? It's and you're saying it in the same thing. Let's say if you want to say it's like it's getting hot, it's getting hot. How will you say that in Hindi? So we learned the word for summer or hot. You remember the word for summer or hot when we said hot tea, hot water, hot milk. The word was very good. For the word was garam, right? So same it would be when you say it's raining, it's barish ho rahi hai. When you want to say it's getting hot, it will be take a guess. I can tell you you won't be wrong here. Awesome. So you will say गर्मी हो रही है. गर्मी हो गर्मी हो रही है. Right. So for example, if you go to your your close friend's house and you feel comfortable, it's getting hot. You feel free to say गर्मी हो रही है और यहाँ गर्मी हो रही है. Like turn on the air conditioner or fan or whatever, right? So it's important to know, the question which Marcella asked, whether it's masculine or feminine, right? Because then only you can say it's like rahi hai or raha hai. Now the last one, which was cold. It's getting cold here. How will you say that now? It's debatable because some people refer to cold as masculine, some as they refer to it as like feminine. But let's say, what will you try? Write down the entire sentence. Okay, very good. So you can say ठंडा हो रहा है, ठंडा हो रहा है. Some parts of India they refer to it as feminine. In this case, it would be. So this is like if you're referring to like to the cold weather as masculine. If you're okay, very good. Before I completed, you completed the question. So it's ठंडी हो रही है, ठंडी हो रही है. It's getting cold in here. Right? So you can refer to it as like okay, turn on something, a heater or something like that, right? So I hope this exercise was helpful. I'm gonna have like some more quiz before we sort of like wrap up the session, so that way at least you can use them on day-to-day basis. So so all these things like बारिश हो रही है, बारिश हो रही है और गर्मी हो रही है और सर्दी और ठंड हो रही है, ठंडी हो रही है. These are like let's say you are replying to someone, right? What question do you think somebody will be asking you? So that way you'll say, you know, बारिश हो रही है और गर्मी हो रही है और ठंडी हो रही है. Right? Somebody will be asking you probably how is the weather? How is the weather? Now you know the word for weather, right? How will you say that? How will you say the same question in Hindi? So you can be basically act either you can respond or you can ask someone the same question. How will you say how is the weather? Okay, very close. So if you know Hindi is again like an SOV language, right? So it would be मौसम. How is कैसा और कैसे? So मौसम कैसा है? मौसम कैसा है? Okay. You can say how is the weather there? If you're saying here, there, you will say वहाँ वहाँ मौसम कैसा है? वहाँ मौसम कैसा है? So क्या is what? कैसा is sort of how. मौसम कैसा है? Right. Let's say I want to know how's the weather in France. So in this case, I'll say France में मौसम कैसा है? Right. If I want to know how is the weather in Morocco, I'll say Morocco में मौसम कैसा है? Right. And you can respond to me in Hindi, right? And I want you to respond to me in Hindi. How's so Anias, फ्रांस में मौसम कैसा है? And साइदा, मोरक्को में मौसम कैसा है? Respond in Hindi, right? So that way it will give you a practice. Okay, okay, बहुत गर्म है. Very good. गर्म है. Okay. हिंदी में सनी को क्या कहते हैं? Okay. हिंदी में सनी को क्या कहते हैं? Okay. So I hope you are referring to is like like something pleasant, right? You're referring sunny in the context of pleasant. Yes. Okay. You will say sunehra, 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 or you can also say suhana, su, and then ha, na. Right. So I would say use this one more commonly. So मौसम सुहाना है. You can say मौसम सुहाना है. आज मौसम सुहाना है. Okay. Right. I think this should help you understand all the vocabulary words related to, like, environment related stuff, or anything related to weather or atmosphere, or planet. To that extent, I'm going to open it up for discussion to see